A season that began with a bit of disappointment has flipped the script. River football, winners of 5 in a row, headed into their sophomore day matchup with Jayhawk Conference rival Butler. A near guaranteed instant classic in the Bluffs, and we've got all the highlights from a Week 11 showdown. Grizzlies, Reavers, all the action coming your way next on the Iowa Western Football Coaches Show. It's the Coach Stroh Show, and it's only on Iowa Western Television's Reavers Sports Network. From the studios of IWTV in Council Bluffs, by far one of the most exciting rivalries in junior college football, Butler and Iowa Western. The Grizzlies were the team that Iowa Western wanted to be when they started football in Council Bluffs, and now each and every time the two meet, we are treated to a very exciting game. Coach, what do you compare this rivalry to? LSU, Alabama, Michigan, Ohio State, UCLA, US. I mean, where does it fall?
Well, I'll tell you what. I mean, it's two really good teams. When we first started, like I said, I knew the head coach at Butler, and when I was at NIAC, I actually called him when how they were doing it, and then obviously when we got here and got the chance to play the first time in 12, and since then it's been a battle. I mean, every single game. That's
the team that you wanted to be able to play. I believe in 2010. You guys were a game away from meeting them in a possible national title game, and then in 2012 you finally get that matchup. You guys have owned the series, so to speak. 5-2 headed into this 8th meeting overall. What's it like preparing for Butler? Obviously, their head coach has changed in the last 4 years, but they bring a brand of football that it's fun to prepare against, isn't it?
For sure. I mean, like I said, they're really well coached, and their head coach now was the defense coordinator when we started, so they haven't steered it too far away from the type of players that they got and how hard they played. So, going into these, you like them because you know what they're going to do, and it's kind of a chess match back and forth. And we've been fortunate to be on the winning edge more than on the other end.
Let's take a look at those highlights and see how the Reavers and the Grizzlies play out in matchup number 8 in the all-time series. As I said, the Reavers 5-2 all-time, perfect in the state of Iowa, and that includes 2 bowl game matchups up in Cedar Falls. You guys get going right away, and it's Cam Thomas that takes off on the run, but fumbles the ball. That's an early turnover that we haven't seen from your squad in the last couple of weeks.
Not a very good start, but our defense came up really, really good here, stopping them here and holding them to 3 points or field goal. But you can't put our defense in bad positions there.
Big quarterback sack from Devin Drew causing that field goal attempt. So it's 3-0 Butler. And then you guys get it going. Zion Williams has been great in the return game, and he rips off a perfect return here. Well, not quite perfect. He did get run out of bounds, but comes up with a short field for your offense.
Well, again, field position's a big factor in games like this, so it was able to change it, which helped.
Deshaun Stoudemire to the outside. Good pass from Cam to Deshaun, and then, you keep rolling it on downfield. Cam Thomas still in the ball game, throwing down the field and just out of reach of Tyler Blaha. Looks like just a little bit extra zip on those passes, maybe into that wind that was coming out of the north.
Yeah, sometimes you do that. We go for it on 4th down, we don't get it and turn it over. But this is a big.
How about that hit from Kenny Wilkins Jr., S.L. McCall scooping it up, and again, it's a short field for the Reavers. So go to work. A guy that you weren't sure if you'd see or not, Sheldon Cage. He's the man that goes in almost in slow motion on this play, just picking his way down the sideline, bursts into the end zone for his first receiving touchdown as an Iowa Western Reaver.
Well, it's good. We didn't make a decision until Friday at about 4 o'clock after practice if he was going to be able to play or not. He's still hampered a little bit with an injury.
Here's one we haven't seen before, Coach. They call for a fair catch. The ball bounces, and then he catches it, and that instantly becomes where the ball's dead right there. So couldn't return it because he called a fair catch, but you start with a short field again, and then how about the INT? This time almost scoring is Zion Williams with the pick.
We needed it because right here we turn it over. Again, two really good defenses going head-to-head right now, and they came up with a huge stop. We obviously didn't help ourselves out by fumbling it.
Yeah, Cage held up and has it stripped away. And then Butler, gives you 2 points. That had to be nice to see as the first quarter comes to a close. They give you 2 points. They were tired of playing that field position game with you, and they would rather try to pin you deep with their defense.
For sure. I mean, that's what I initially thought, that when they did it, they want to change the field position again and let their defense go.
And Darius Thomas, he is beat up on the play. They lost their top tailback early in the game, and then they go for another field goal attempt. This one, good as well. It's 9-6 in one of those classic games. You guys beat them 6-0 in the second all-time matchup, and it kind of felt like that with both defenses just really walloping the offenses of both squads.
Well, for sure, and both offenses each have 2 turnovers, and have played some backed up, and we can't have these things in against a good defense here. We just changed field position on ourselves.
Yep. Cam trying to throw it away, called for the intentional grounding because the ball didn't get back to the line. And then, they start on the drive. Butler, they will never go away, even in those games where you guys flip-flopped on the blowouts in back-to-back years. You never knew exactly what was going to happen, had to stay in pursuit. Speaking of in pursuit, Devin Drew again in pursuit of Grizzly runners.
Devin had a great game. You need guys like him to step up in big games, and he certainly did.
Reaver offense back to work again, just 9-6 at this point, and you got to wonder, okay, at what point is this going to happen? Because you know that Butler can go in at any point. They've had blowout wins and they've had losses where you're like, how did they end up on the wrong end of that score?
For sure, they played the Fort Scott team 10-7, last week, and and then they blow out a team. So what team really shows up?
6 fumbles forced on the day. You guys recover 3 of them, and then a big overthrow as the interception for Xavier Hinkle for Butler, and then Jack Samsel back to work. And again, the Reavers back to work. This time, his offensive lineman doesn't fall on it. He does, but another QB sack for your defensive line.
Again, they were after him all day, and like I said, at half is, the balls are on the ground. We're going to continue to get them. Unfortunately, we have, I think, 3 turnovers, and they have 3 turnovers at the half.
Chandler Cotton, you saw him run on that last play of the half. He's been added in the last couple of weeks. Tell me your impression of his running. It seems the last couple of games he was in taking the carries when the guys were when the opposing team knew what was coming as far as running the clock down. This time he got a little bit better heads of steam and a few more big runs.
He did. I think he's just getting more comfortable. Like I said, he didn't practice with us since August, and then 2 weeks ago or whatever, we're like, Chandler, you're on and you're going to play.
Yeah.
So it's kind of been a crash course, but he's getting better and better each week.
Okay. The dark side wreaking some havoc. 9-6 at the half. Still 30 minutes of football to play. Second half highlights. They're coming up next on the Coach Stroh Show, only on the Reaver Sports Network and IWTV.
Listen to me. I am captain of the track team. And if I'm late,
She doesn't really think she's going to get out of here, does she?
Be nice, she's new.
Hello, is anyone there? Ugh!
Wow. Even from our standards, you look awful.
Oh, sweetie, what happened?
Me? My friend Becky got to talk to this super cute boy, and I tried to act like I wasn't jealous, but I so totally was. And then out of nowhere, this concrete barrier just popped up. Maybe it was a semi.
You mean you were driving?
Yeah. I know the whole eyes on the road thing, but this was a super important text. Maybe you have to know, Becky.
Texting? Great.
But it was only like 5 seconds, and I'm a really, really fast texter, so it wasn't even a big deal. Actually, has she texted me back yet? Wow, I get like no bars in this place. I wonder if they have Wi-Fi here.
Here you go.
Thank you.
Thank you.
From the IWTV studios, I'm Jake Ryan, along with the head coach of the Iowa Western Reavers, Scott Stroh. 9-6 lead at the half. You go in knowing that there's some extracurriculars on the sideline at halftime. What did you guys talk about? You're up a very slim margin over a very good football team. How did you adjust at half?
Well, we did have to make some adjustments. They played a little bit differently than we anticipated them playing, and making a QB switch at half and like really stressing to the defense of just keep playing because they played extremely well in the first half.
Now, do you expect the unexpected when you're playing teams like Butler? You've seen them with a pattern all year long. We saw you get up big on Fort Scott the week before, and you kind of held it close to the vest as well. Is that something that you expect to be treated like that?
Yeah, for sure. And our defense, they stay pretty close. Butler does every time we play them. There's a few wrinkles, but when on their defense, though, sometimes it's going into the game and how they feel they're going to have success against us and trying to find out. You learn pretty quick on what they think of your team. In those first few drives, they don't think we can throw it, or they're going to play man or whatever it may be and stop the run. So we did have to adjust because we practiced all week against something differently.
All right, well, let's take a look at those second half highlights. Reavers up 9-6 at the break, and here they come. It is sophomore day, and of course, military appreciation and First Responders Day as well, as Veterans Day gets very close. And of course, First Responders Day was nationally last week, so it works well right in the middle. Reavers going to work again. Number 90 seemed to be around the football quite a bit. We talked about him during the first half highlights.
Yeah, he had probably one of his better days as a Western Reaver.
Yeah, you're going to have to give Kenny Wilkins, again, he gets very close to the end zone on turnovers, but didn't get in. Isaiah Coe forcing the fumble. He scoops it up, puts you in short field, and here's Chandler Cotton. That reward for the hard work that he's done leaps over the goal line and into the end zone.
Yeah, it's good. You give an opportunity. You get a short field. We've shown that formation for a few weeks now, and we're still having some success with it, but he was really patient on that one.
So you're up a 10-point lead, 16-6. They're forced to punt again. And again, the punting game, pretty incredible on this day. This particular punt, all the way, and it takes the perfect curve right around the goal line, so they're able to pin you deep.
Yeah, that's not what you want to do when against a good defense and struggling a little bit offensively. But you got to get a couple first downs and then see what happens.
Back to Butler, and this ball that was dangerous to Qualls as it bounced off Marcus Haskins and nearly back into the hands of the receiver inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah, he's their best guy. And they put him in a lot of positions to make plays, and I'm glad he wasn't able to come down with that one.
So Butler works with a pair of punters. This guy was the place kicker. He's also their pooch kicker. And man, I tell you what, if there's MVP for Butler right now at this point in the game, it was by far their punters.
100%. We're backed up, got to go 99 yards. This is one of the better things when you are backed up. That's demoralizing to a defense.
Chandler Cotton hitting the circle button, and then it is down the field to Applewhite. Makes a heck of a move to try to get in position. Didn't catch it, did catch it, plus the pass interference. You decline that, and then Marcel Barbie finally getting into some space. He rolls down inside the 20.
It was really good, a good drive. We were starting it at the 1-yard line and trying to punch it in. I thought maybe he got in there. That's where
the pylon magically moved, but they call it down at the 1, and you'll give it back to number 27. He keeps pushing, again spinning, and then getting into the end zone into the pile.
It's a good drive. If there's one thing, positive offensively, there it is, 99 yards. Now we also had one penalty in that group as well, or it might have been 2, but to be able to go down and get another score is huge.
Contreras on with the other extra point right there, 23-6. And then this is unusual, Coach. Obviously, you kick it into the end zone. It's a touchback. You're out to 10. We had all sorts of thoughts in the booth during this time. What were you thinking on the sideline? 60 yards worth of pass interference penalties as Marcus Haskins goes and plays center field and gets the interception. Yeah,
well, I've never been in that situation. I know now. I didn't realize we were going to kick from the 10. I was thinking the 25. So from there, if it happens again, I'll know how to respond.
So 45 yards worth of penalties. They go half the distance, so you get 55 yards worth of penalties. Kickoff from the 10, nothing results from it. They kick it back to you, you kick it back to them, and here's your guys. I don't know what they're waiting for. Maybe a last-second earthquake like in Caddyshack to move the football a few more yards down the field.
Yeah.
Shelton going to work again, tipped, and man, those balls hang in the air too long when those balls get tipped, especially that you see that one there and also the one from off of Haskins earlier.
Yeah, over the middle, that was a little scary.
And Devin Drew, again, thought we were going to see a big boy touchdown. Maybe he needs to work with Coach Marshall and the Reaver track team about running hurdles a little bit.
I think so. It would have been nice to get that one in there because I don't know if we punch it in on that. I think I know what drive this one is.
Yep, it's the Reavers just keep going to work. Applewhite to the corner, and there's a heck of a pick off by Eric Scott. This is another thing we saw for the first time in Reaver football history, is a 100-yard return, whether for or against, and this is Butler's lone touchdown on the day. And I mean, he worked for that touchdown. He wrestled away from Jay Bionte, who, as you know, has got very strong hands, and that one maybe a little bit of a highlight for Butler, but certainly you guys are still in control.
Yeah, and you go with the safest type of play that you can go, and it ends up being that way. And it's just, but that's what happens in these matchups. You can't put them in position.
And then late in the game, they try a little razzle-dazzle, the reverse flea flicker. How about just another quarterback sack? Devin Drew flies away from the pile, and that wraps it up 23-13. Now 6-2 all-time, perfect in the state of Iowa against the Butler Grizzlies, and I tell you, it's every time that you escape with a victory against those guys, you know that you've worked for it.
For sure, and we had to play well in some areas, and again, it was two really good teams battling each other, and defensively played as good as I've seen us play in our time. I mean, there's obviously other really good games, but at that moment, they came up and played huge.
Now, you've played some very tough defenses the last several games. Your offense, though, has struggled a little bit since meeting Snow at Titan Stadium. So what have you worked on in practice as far as timing? It seems like your quarterbacks are just a little bit off on the throws, and your running backs obviously have taken a hit all season long.
Yeah, I mean, I think, in some areas it's what teams are doing to us, and you got strengths and weaknesses, and we got exposed early on, and in a couple of games, surprised more teams haven't done it to us, and now you just got to make play, and when they do stuff like that, you got to put guys in position to make a play, and and you look at the games where we did have, was it Snow, if we had a good play, or somebody bailed somebody out, and that's really what you got to do. The only way you're going to get them out of that stuff is you got to make a play, and we haven't been able to make that play.
Well, defense wins championships, as they say. For the Reavers, it's turned the season around. Another member of the Reavers' Dark Side D stops by when we return. Devin Drew joins the show next. We've got more of the Stroh Show coming up right after this on the Reaver Sports Network and IWTV.
The Dr. John and Jean Marshall Wellness Center, opening summer of 2019, Iowa Western.
Sometimes the things we do or say can make others feel hurt, excluded, or isolated. Everything you say and do creates an impact.
How am I supposed to save the whole world?
You can't think about saving the world. You have to think about saving one person.
Because of you, someone's entire life can change. You don't have to be a superhero to have a positive impact.
Friends?
Friends.
From the studios of Iowa Western Television, this is the Coach Stroh Show. I'm Riley Teen with KC Most, Devin Drew. Devin, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
So why Iowa Western over some of the schools that may be closer to home?
I knew a couple people that came here from Kansas City, and I had a good relationship with them, and I seen how it was kind of working for them. So I decided to come here too, and it was pretty close to home.
Do you ever look across the field and see players that you might know from those Jayhawk teams?
Oh, yeah, definitely. A lot.
So when you're having these great games, just getting a lot of sacks, what's going through your mind?
I just want to be out there playing hard so I can make as many plays as possible. It's kind of easy when you got a lot of playmakers on defense with you too.
Last game, you seem to be in the right spot at right time. What do you do to prepare for those moments to get all those sacks?
I study a lot of film of what like the tackle does, how he blocks, so I can know what he's not his best at and use that against him.
So to this season, you guys kind of had a slow start. Now you guys are 7-3. You're top 5 in the polls, and you're starting to play Reaver football. What did it take to get things turning?
Practice. We started off the season. We wasn't practicing with a lot of energy, but after those 3 losses, we came together. We had a meeting actually as just a team, like just the players, and from there on, we started practicing with a lot of energy. We bring energy to the games, and we just started winning.
A multi-sport athlete in high school, how has that helped you on the football field?
It's a lot of time consuming, so I'm used to it because like in high school, I played sports all year round, so I really didn't have that much free time, so it just gets me prepared for not having that much free time here also.
So how has those skills sort of helped you move on? Do you think you could have played college in another sport?
Nah, probably not. It was probably just football.
So college football fan, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
So who do you got this week, LSU or Bama?
I think LSU gonna win.
You think LSU's going to take it?
Yeah.
This year's going to be the change?
Yeah.
All right, so you guys close out the season against Highland, another tough Jayhawk team. What's it going to take to get the win?
Just play with that same energy we've been playing with throughout these past weeks. Fly around on defense, and our offense is gonna make plays this week.
Well, Devin, congrats on a good game, and thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me.
That's defensive lineman Devin Drew. I'm Riley Teaton. We'll get this weekend's scouting report on Highland when we come back. Jake and Coach will close out this edition of the Stroh Show next on IWTV.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Drop that baby.
Schedule your campus visit today. Iowa Western. The world is waiting.
From Council Bluffs, Iowa, in these studios of IWTV, a 1-3 start to the year. Talks of a national title pretty much ceased a while back. But, Coach, as we welcome you in for the final segment, we're looking at the rankings right now, and to even be discussing it seems a little bit ludicrous. Tell us about ludicrous speed and what, I mean, number 5 in the country at 7-3 overall. It's a pretty good spot to be heading into the last week of the season.
Well, for sure, from where it was at the beginning of the year. But I think that's I said it at the beginning of the year that there wasn't going to be 2 undefeateds. I didn't think anymore. And now we still got 2 undefeated. It still could happen, but you're going to look at a lot better with 1 or 2 lost teams, or even a 3 lost team that could sneak into the game, just because the parity, the level of play and people playing each other and beating up on each other. I knew was going to happen, and without the Arizona League now, and so really you're looking at it, for the most part, it should be the Kansas in our league and Mississippi, and then you throw 1 independent in that mix. But there's some good teams that play each other and beat up on each other.
All right, well, you've got to go out and win this week. Even if the chaos happens in front of you, you got to take care of business at a place that you've mostly fared well. There was one odd occurrence in 2016, but there was a lot of odd occurrences that year. Yeah. So tell us about this year's Highland Scotty team. You guys and the Scotties go way back even to before this scheduling agreement.
Yeah, well, I mean they're 6-3. They got to end up getting a forfeit win just as of late, but they play really well at home. They're a totally different team at home than they are on the road. And I don't why that is.
It used to be the high grass, but now they've got turf.
For sure. And I thought it was going to change once they got turf, but they do. They play really well there. I'm hearing rumblings that it may be their head coach's last game, and give them some motivation there as well, and to try to win their 7th game of the year. So they got probably the top JUCO corner in the country. They got some other guys that are throwing it around a lot better than they have been in the past. But we got to battle, and we got our own issues that we got to solidify with some injuries and things like that, and getting our team ready to play.
Now, even though this is out of the state of Iowa, this is the closest football team to you guys in junior college football is Highland, just a couple hours away.
Yeah, and I tell you what, we had our long road trips at the beginning. It's really nice at the end of the year to be a little bit closer to home once the game finishes. But we're just a couple hours. Now we'll go down, we'll stay in St. Joe because there's no place to stay in Highland, Kansas. So
you could take tents.
That's what you'd need is tents. And there's some some fields that I think we could pitch them in. But we'll stay in St. Joe and get up and make the trek over in the morning.
All right. Well, good luck to you on Saturday. It is the final regular season game of the season, and the Reavers will face the Highland Scotties. One more game, shortest roadie of the year, as Iowa Western takes on the Highland Scotties. 1 o'clock Saturday afternoon. We will have the pregame on 89.7 The River at 12:30. And, of course, Reaver Vision will have the pictures about 10 minutes until the top of the hour. Can't wait for it. It's been a memorable ride so far. We thank you again for tuning in. And, of course, thanks to the IWTV crew and Iowa Western media students for helping to make the show a possibility all year long. As always, we're looking for who's next. So come be a part of the awesome things that are done here in the Media Studies Department and, of course, at IWTV. You can log on iwcc.edu or just give Dave Charrington a call. He's the man behind the scenes. He'll answer all your questions for what it takes to get your start in a career in sports media or just media in general. For Reaver Football's Scott Strohmeyer and, of course, defensive lineman Devin Drew and IWTV's Riley Teaton, I'm Jake Ryan, the voice of the Reavers, reminding you to wear your blue, be loud, and cheer for your Iowa Western Reavers. We'll talk to you on game day. Go Reavers.